Sutton starts round 4 on pole position by dint of winning the race to pole. Darrell De Leon is with him at the front of the grid. Then you've got Dan Camish and Ricky Collard ahead of Tom Ingram and Adam Morgan on row 3. Ingram the first on the grid on the medium option tyre. Mike Doble is on the medium and he starts on row 4. Teammate Dexter Patterson is also on the medium tyre. Then Aaron Taylor-Smith and his teammate Gordon Shedden, medium tyre both. Sam Osborne comes next. Potentially a gap where Lewis Selby should have been, because if you fall to the very back, that's where you have to stay. Chris Smiley and Tom Chilton are next on the grid. Charles Rainford, as you heard, goes medium. Aidan Moffat, likewise, they're 3rd and 4th in the championship, so they've got work to do here. Dan Rowbottom, likewise, 17th, ahead of James Dorlin. Max Buxton is on the medium tyre, as is Nicholas Hamilton, and Josh Cook on medium at the very back. And Lewis Selby is doing what he's meant to, and that is stay at the very rear. So Lewis Selby having to give up 12 by the car not getting away. It is a very different looking Brands Hatch than we had yesterday. Now, of course, that it's fairly gloomy and the rain is coming. Here you can see how many laps of boost allocation people have. This is based on the championship positions before yesterday's race to pole points were allocated. So coming into the weekend, Ash Sutton has 4 laps, Dan Camish 7, 8 for Gordon Shedden, only 5 and 6 though, starting a long way back, Charles Rainford and Aidan Moffat. Darrell De Leon has 14 laps of boost available. That's the maximum you can have, so that should put him in the box seat. That's Ash Sutton's view up to the grid, and most definitely the conditions are changing.
It looks like it's getting worse, doesn't it? So from the sort of clouds and what we're seeing on the screen and the track surface, it's definitely getting a little bit worse. So poor old Josh Cook with an unscrubbed cold rear on this, not what you want, bless him, going to the grid. But yeah, it could be a bit lively these first few laps, and it also makes the start much harder because you're guessing the level of traction, so expect to see some differences off the line.
And in conditions like this, would you rather have rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive machinery?
If it gets a tad worse, then probably the rear-wheel drive, because the front-wheel drives could lose their rear temperature and rear grip, but at the moment it's still advantage front-wheel drive.
Okay.
We'll see.
And Darrell De Leon, we expect a good start from under normal conditions. We've got one of the Hyundais coming down to the pit lane. It's Nicholas Hamilton who is coming into the pits. He did have problems yesterday, so this may well be an issue. They might be gambling on tyres as well, but he's come down the pit lane. Yeah, tyres are ready. I suppose that if you're near the back of the grid, you've nothing to lose. Lewis Selby will slot into place. The key to Nicholas Hamilton now is to stay on that lead lap. However, all eyes for now are on the grid because we are ready to go racing. The green flag is shown at the rear. That means everybody that is ready to go on that grid is back for the formation laps. The lights are red. Blast off, away we go, and the best start of all comes from Ash Sutton, who gets away nicely. And a really good start by Collard as Darrell De Leon slithers off the line. Dan Camish fights back, look to go second on the inside as they head into paddock, ever so tippy-toey through they turn. It is going to be Sutton, then a gap. Camish from Collard, from Ingram as they head uphill. Adam Morgan is away well. There's a Toyota off in the background, look, as you can see going through the Paddock Hill Bend gravel bed. They slither their way out of Druids. This is really heart-in-mouth stuff.
Well, Darrell De Leon just sat there with the rear wheels spinning. He had no fall. Look, though, they're absolutely tippy-toeing round this track. There's one of the MB Motorsport Laser Toyota's getting very sideways. Not sure which one. I think it was Shedden, but the rain has got a lot worse. They are absolutely driving on eggshells here, but as always, a great start from Sutton.
Absolutely. So Sutton leads. You've got Collard second. You've got Ingram third, and they're on maximum boost as they slide their way up towards clearways. This is going to be a really jumbled order at the end of the race. Hamilton is ready to go, but he's dropped a lap, look, as the leaders go up towards paddock. Sutton leading. Collard is second, and that is Adam Morgan straight on into the barriers. The Plato Racing Mercedes out of the race, and that, I suspect, is going to be a safety car.
Yeah, just locking the wheels up because there's a fraction too much brake pressure in damp conditions, and the car just goes straight on. There's no way you can save it either. Drivers are left foot braking, so they can't even dip the clutch and kill the drive. Yeah, that's going to be a safety car. The safety car is out, and the conditions could get worse while the safety car is still going round. So we'll wait and see if anyone else braves it into the pits. As you say, Nick Hamilton got out, but a lap down.
But now the pace of the race will be slower because you're under safety car conditions. So if you are going to make a pit stop, you'll lose less time now under safety car conditions. Adam Morgan is okay, but the car is out of the race, the car is damaged, and that's why the safety car has been deployed. So Ash Sutton is your race leader. Don't forget we can add on a maximum of 3 laps under safety car conditions like this. It is Sutton ahead of Collard. Ricky, who goes across the line with the full 14 laps of boost available pre-race. Ingram is third, best on the medium. Then it's Camish, Doble, Shedden, De Leon 7th from the front row. Sam Osborne is 8th, Aaron Taylor-Smith is 9th, Tom Chilton is 10th, Chris Smiley is 11th, 12th is Dexter Patterson, Charles Rainford is 13th, Dan Rowbottom 14th, Aidan Moffat 15th, and Josh Cook is up into now 17th from the back of the grid. Nick Hamilton did go on to wets, but he's a lap down, and Max Buxton was the Toyota driver through the gravel, and he is now into the pit lane.
I have to say, that was an absolutely terrific start by Ricky Collard.
Yeah.
He of all the front-wheel drive cars, possibly bar Ash Sutton, he got an absolute belter. Flew through from the second row, split the front, and was away like a shot. But a lot of unhappiness, obviously, in the... just look further back, looking for the lock-up. Was there a little bit of obstruction there? A little bit, but it looked like he just came from the inside with the wheels locked up.
I was wondering whether there'd been a rub.
Now watch Ricky Collard, second on your right. Absolutely gets the drive down now and rockets through. It's Kwik, De Leon and Camish.
And Ingram made a good start but couldn't go anywhere because Camish was in the way and struggling off the line.
And De Leon was just sitting there with the rear wheels spinning. He didn't get very far. And then they really were tiptoeing through Druids Hill Bend and then falling over each other. Look at the two BMW. Oh, it's the BMW on the outside, and then it's actually the Audi just in front.
That was De Leon, wasn't it? Getting shuffled further back in the queue. That was Camish going wide. And a big moment for Gordon Shedden. He did well to save that. Really? De Leon gains a place back.
This is on board with De Leon. You can see him steering to the right as the rear wheels are spinning and sliding down the hill. Through goes Collard there. On the inside, there's a bit of bunching going on. He's just hung out to dry, and you look at him fighting the wheel because he's got no grip at all. He runs wide again here at Druids, down through the gears to second, but he just can't stop the car. He's out wide, fighting for grip. One of the Audis just gets in front of him. That was Doble, I think. There was contact there with Shedden, and another contact which actually sends Shedden into that bit of a tank slapper. But really, everybody's fighting there to stay on the track, so that's entirely forgivable. Very difficult conditions, very difficult.
I just wonder whether we stay with this, it might illustrate what happens to Adam Morgan. Was there contacts that fired Adam off, or was it all self-induced? We might be able to see. Have a look up the road. You see, still fighting the car up to the line. Now have a look up the road. Do we see any contact? Was Camish versus Morgan? Still hard to tell from that.
Yeah, it is. But you saw him making a brake bias adjustment as he came onto the straight, and also fighting the steering wheel as he came through the slight curve to the right. This is a better angle, maybe.
Camish goes to the inside. No, I don't think there was contact.
No, I think he literally just locked up. Maybe he was looking in the mirrors a little bit or watching Camish and missed his braking point. Not that you have an accurate braking point in different conditions, but once you lock up in a front-wheel drive car, you're heading for the scenery.
Well, there is Adam Morgan's rather battle-scarred Mercedes out of the way. Tough day yesterday. Adam was the quicker of the two. Dan Rowboltham and his engineer Paul Ridgway in the other Cataclean Plato Racing Mercedes A35 went and did a setup adjustment, and they seemed to go the wrong way, so that rather conspired against them for the race to pole after qualifying, the official qualifying session. It's up to Dan though now to uphold team honour. The euphoria of Donington and the race to pole is now a bit of a memory, but they'll bounce back, no doubt. Long way to go during the day, as people are saying, already starting to think about reverse engineering the day, looking for a race 3 result. So, Ash Sutton then in the lead, and we are still behind the safety car. Next thing to ponder about tyres. Does not only the rain, although I think that might just be easing a little bit, but what this safety car running is doing to temperatures and longevity, and whether a soft or a medium is now the better tyre. Over to you two.
Well, it hasn't made too much difference, actually. It has given them an opportunity to get a bit more heat into the tyres, although they're running around obviously at slower speeds. It just gives the driver a bit more feel and a few more laps to lean on it. They can hang back and accelerate through the corners, get a bit more heat in. I think they'll feel a little bit more confident on the restart than they would have done off the line, but not a lot of difference between the soft and the medium. Nothing's going to deteriorate or degrade too hard in these conditions. It's cool and damp.
Okay, let me see if I can have a quick word with Josh Cook about all of this while we're behind the safety car. Josh, decent start. Weather update, please. Is it getting better or worse? The answer is Josh is a bit busy, so we'll leave him to it. Apologies. Right, so cars for the moment are on Cooper Straight. We will go back racing imminently because the incident zone is cleared. Lights are still on the safety car.
Yeah, but the safety car's speeding up a bit, which the guys will be very grateful for. They want to go as quickly as they can and get as much heat as possible. But yeah, one more lap, I'm sure, and we'll be back underway. Obviously, we have the new restart situation now where the driver has an acceleration zone rather than a go board, and he can go any time in that gap.
Over the line then, that now puts 7 laps in the book. Ricky Collard had done the fastest lap before the safety car came out, just before we got to the safety car conditions. And remember, the only driver we have lost is Adam Morgan. Now, Max Buxton, even though he's 2 laps down, he's also gone onto the wets, but I've got to say that's looking less like the ideal way to go, because to my aged eyes, things are getting a bit brighter and looking less gloomy out there, less wet.
Well, to my even more aged eyes, I'd agree with you. But yeah, I mean, but it's often worth a gamble if you're at the back. Lights are out, safety car in this lap, restart down to Ash Sutton now. But yeah, I don't think wets. It was a gamble, but you know, don't think it looks like it's going to work now.
Right, so Ash Sutton leads, and then behind you've got Touring Car Racing's equivalent of Scrappy Doo. Ricky Collard then ready to roll up his sleeves, get out his elbows. He's already on the line, say, come on Ash, I want to go racing. And Ricky Collard used to restarts from his days in GT racing, never mind in touring cars. He has won on the road, but he's never kept a win in the BTCC. He is so determined to change that. He'd love to do it here, he'd love to do it in this race as we go racing. Green flag flies. We're back running in round 4 of the British Touring Car Championship, led by Ash Sutton. Ricky Collard is second. Tom Ingram is third as they dive down through paddock. The top 2 just edging away a little bit. Remember, you've got the top 2 on the softer tyre. Ingram third is on the medium on a greasy track.
You've got to love Ricky Collard. He is no respecter of some past success or anything else, is he? He was right on the bumper of Ash Sutton, pushing him, intimidating him, doing everything he can. He has no intention flashing the lights. He's no intention of letting Ingram on the medium tyre. He's on the soft, remember, go past him while he's attacking for the lead of the race. And Camish is looking very racy as well behind. Oh, they're going to contact at the front. He's pushed him wide. Ingram is across the grass, Collard.
Collard having a go, but it doesn't work. Here comes Ingram round the outside. He's going to make the move for second place. So Ricky Collard made the move. There was contact. Sutton managed to stand his ground, and he actually has a bigger lead at the end of the lap. Collard is going to hang on to second place to the inside line. Camish goes back to third, and as they come out of paddock now, the gap is up to about half a second between Sutton and Ricky Collard. Ingram thought for a moment he got that done and was up into second. He's got shuffle back in the pack to fourth. He now, though, is on the attack again, coming downhill. How long before Collard, though, can put himself back onto the tail of Ash Sutton? He's charging on, isn't he? He wants to be there. He wants to be in that lead fight again.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that didn't work out. It looked like it was going to work out well for Ingram. Look at that snap he had there, turning into 30s. He's on the medium tyre, remember. It doesn't have as much grip.
And that's Osborne having a big slide on the outside to clear ways. Dexter Patterson is into the gravel, and he's going to get stuck. Come on, Dexter, dig yourself out. He's down to first gear. He's desperately trying to edge it forward and get out of the gravel. He's nearly there. 1 wheel's on the road, 2, 3, 4. He's back running. Good. Sigh of relief in race control. We don't need a safety car, but it did look low on the front left corner. I just wonder as he heads to the pit lane whether a puncture actually put him off the road rather than the slippery surface. It did look a bit low, and now he'll have dragged some gravel across the road as well. That's going to be slippy next time through.
No, I think he just locked up, but the gravel's so deep there, he was very much buried in it.
So the cars then come down towards Surtees. Dexter Patterson, I can see out of the window, is into the pit lane. So problems for him, as there you've got the lead battle back on. Collard has not had to take long to get back onto the tail of Sutton. Only a couple of laps as they turn their way now through Clark Curve. It's game on. Ricky building up to try to make the move as they come towards paddock. He's on the outside line. He can use the boost. He's ahead then as he goes storming through into the lead. Ricky Collard has done it as they get towards paddock. Sutton second, Camish third, Ingram fourth. In fifth place is Mikey Doble, and the fastest man on the track is sixth, and that's Tom Chilton.
Well, Collard knew he had the greater number of boost laps. He had the maximum of 14 as opposed to Sutton, who only has 4 laps, and that was very clearly using the boost to his advantage. But hats off to him, he's going for the lead.
And Sutton is on the boost, perhaps. No, not quite. He doesn't even need to be, because that was an error by Collard. And Sutton's back through into the lead of the race. So Ash Sutton goes through once more. Here comes Camish on the attack for second place, and he can't do it. But Ash Sutton being able, like yesterday, to use racecraft and a well-engineered car. He's not yet touched the boost. This is Dexter Patterson in replay. He's on the steering wheel button, but understeers that wide. It still didn't look like he wanted to turn.
It's just that damp track. He was just a fraction too much speed. He just could not get the car stopped.
Sutton leads Collard. Third, still Camish. Ingram is there in fourth place. And possibly Camish and Ingram are just waiting for it to end in tears ahead, because absolutely there is no question that Ricky Collard wants this lead. He did have his nose in front when they crossed the line, but it's Ash Sutton back in front here. Way up the curve goes Collard. In the background there's another battle because Charles Rainford is getting himself in the pack. Josh Cook also is up into 12th place from last on the grid as the cars now again come towards clearways. So you've got 2 Napa Racing Fords, 2 Team Virtue Hyundais, and then 5th and 6th now, Chilton versus Doble. They've swapped order as well. This is Josh Cook at work.
Yeah, hard at work. Just looked like the rain may have come back a bit. All the wipers were on. Side by side across the line. Collard on the outside. He's using boost, I think, on this lap. Yes, he is definitely using boost. So this is his lap to try and attack on. He'd used 2 laps up till now. Sutton hadn't used any.
Chris Smiley has done the fastest lap of the race. He's up into the top 10. Leaders drop downhill. Ash Sutton's data yesterday showing just how quick he was through Paddock and Druids, where you don't get much chance to use the boost. And then the rest of the lap was where people were trying to use it to catch back up. And he really nailed that first couple of corners and therefore was able to build a bit of an advantage there. Collard then is hunting him down, as there you can see diving up the inside. Darrell De Leon with his elbows out. Lewis Selby also trying to get back up the pack, having started last after stalling on the grid. So it's a continuous shuffled order. James Dorlin is there as well after an engine change after free practice yesterday. Dexter Patterson, incidentally, not rejoined the race. He's still stuck in the pit lane. Sutton to Collard is 6/10. Ash Sutton, fastest lap of the race now.
Yeah, that's going to carry on getting quicker as the track dries out a little bit. So it won't be about tyre wear. It'll just be about the track drying and then getting quicker and quicker.
And he's still to use the boost, as Ash is leaving it late race, should he need it. But right now, look, he's got a gap. Dan Camish on the attack for second place against Ricky Collard, and that's taking the pressure off Sutton, allowing him to drive his race, his lines, not having to defend.
Yeah, but Camish has, he only started this race with 7 laps of boost. He's used one of them already, so Ricky still has the most number of laps available to him of that front group. He has 11.
Darrell De Leon is fading though, isn't he? Here you're on board with him, but from second on the grid. He's in 13th place, coming up towards the line. The lead gap is up again to 0.6 of a second. There they are, Sutton, Collard. Bit of a gap has opened up through Paddock over Camish, and then it's Ingram in 4th place. Chilton 5th has now joined that queue as well, hasn't he? So Tom Chilton then, who, despite his history in the championship, certainly had one Brands Indy Circuit win. He's right there now on the back of Ingram.
Yeah, we've got 2 Napa Ford Focus Titaniums up against 3 Hyundais, haven't we, at the front in the 5 cars.
But Sutton is getting away. He's building that gap all the time. As you look at Josh Cook there going through. Josh continuing to get up the order. So now he's in 11th spot, looking, I think he just got past Aaron Taylor-Smith at the front of ATS's car. So the Speedworks Corolla Racing entry, Josh Cook charging on. Camish, meanwhile, is under big pressure now from Ingram as they get into paddock. That's 3rd and 4th, with Chilton 5th behind them. Heading up towards Druids. The lead gap is now over a second. 2 fastest laps of the race in a row for Ash Sutton, and still he has not used any of the boost.
Yeah, as the track dries, he's getting 0.3 of a second quicker every lap. But out of everybody, still the quickest one out there. Again, as you say, using no boost.
Those on the wet tyre, Nick Hamilton and Max Buxton struggling now. Their laps are in the 52-53 second mark, 48 for Ash Sutton, so big difference. But it was a gamble. Gambles sometimes pay off, sometimes they don't. And this is one that has not worked as James Dorlin there runs wide around the outside of Gordon Shedden. Gordon's another one, isn't he, who's dropping away because he was 10th on the grid and he's falling down the order.
Yeah, although we spoke to Josh Cook on the warm-up lap, there were some real tyre issues within the Toyota camp. The front left with some peculiar wear on it on the inside shoulder that the Goodyear guys, Mickey Butler, said they weren't seeing on any of the other cars. So there was something in the setup of those Toyotas that was working that front tyre very hard. It wasn't a case of too much camber. It wasn't a case of too much understeer. The cars were actually quite oversteering in the race. So they are searching for the ideal setup on that Corolla.
As there is Gordon Shedden losing out to James Dorlin, so that puts Gordon now 16th. Like I say, he started 10th on the grid, gets back up the inside of Dorlin, who raced a Corolla last year, don't forget, and a little bit of hit and shoulder forces the Restart Racing Hyundai wide. Over the timing line they go. James will just be ahead as they cross the stripe. Behind them is Dan Rowbottom, still in 17th place, not making progress.
He's not happy with that car at all, doing chasing setup all weekend, and the faster of the two Mercedes was Adam Morgan, but of course he was out with that lock up into paddock early in this race.
Right, Ash Sutton is your leader now by 1.8 seconds. He has escaped, has he not? He has used a lap of boost. The four that he started with, he's used one lap. That's Collard versus Camish, so now it is battle on for second place, and it is Collard the hunted rather than the hunter.
Yeah, and Ricky's using his boost to stay in front until they get to the point where the boost levels are equal. It'll stay like this. He can, Camish using a lot of inside curve there. Collard will have to defend, and at the moment Collard still has 8 laps left to boost, and Camish only has 4.
Out of Druids they come, and all of this is playing into the hands of Ash Sutton. Don't forget, Ash on the least amount of laps of boost available and leading by 1.8 seconds. We've had a change for 10th place because Josh Cook has got past Aidan Moffat, so that puts the Toyota driver from 21st into 10th place. A proper Cookie charge.
Yeah, this is great to see. We love Cookie on a charge. That disadvantage of starting with the cold rear doesn't seem to have hurt him too much, does it?
Well, this is how he made the move. So Kerb at paddock has the inside line. Aidan, his mate, gives him racing room up towards Druids. Nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of room given there on the inside by Aidan Moffat, certainly, but that was a good pass. He still had to hold the line and keep the speed up.
So we are on to lap number 21. Ash Sutton now leading by 2 seconds as he continues to storm away. I will pass you the book of superlatives of Ash Sutton to use, Tim, for later on, but I think we finished it a couple of seasons ago, didn't we?
I was going to say that was used up a long time ago. But he continues to impress us and set new standards, doesn't he?
Indeed so. Yesterday was mighty. Meanwhile, mighty fight going on between Taylor Smith, Shedden and Dorlin. They're still squabbling over 14th, 15th and 16th as there Daryl De Leon fights back against Aidan Moffat, but Aidan's on the inside line coming through clearways. So you've got the Audi A3 on the inside, got the BMW round the outside. Daryl De Leon, as the road dries a little bit, starting to pick up pace and goes ahead of his former teammate. Also in the mix as they come by is Lewis Selby. He's recovered really well, hasn't he, from last on the grid up to 12th place.
Yeah, Lewis said that, he learned a lot. He stayed out of trouble as much as he could at Donington. Was surprised how much everybody got their elbows out, but that's touring cars, and he said he was going to be a bit more aggressive this weekend, and he certainly made good progress, as you say, from last on the grid.
So it is Sutton, Collard, Camish for the podium right now. The leading independent is 6th. That's Mikey Doble. This is Dorlin on the back of Shedden, who is almost on the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith as they run along Cooper Straight. Behind them is Dan Rowbottom, and we've just had a driving standards flag to Aidan Moffat as there, up towards the line, comes Sam Osborne going for 6th against Mikey Doble. Sam, a winner at Silverstone last year, gets better all the time, goes through. Nice move.
Yeah, it looks like all the drivers are really loving this Ford Focus Titanium, doesn't it? It looks to be a match for the Hyundai this year, certainly in Sutton's hands against Ingram, but also his teammates well going very quickly, so a great car.
But Ash Sutton's advantage nearly 2 seconds right now, 1.9 the margin. There is Tom Ingram, who, perhaps surprisingly, given that he had 14 laps of boost, has not been able to get himself into the top 3. He's used a fair chunk of it. He's got 5 laps left, as Tom.
But David, he's on the medium tyre, which is not the faster of the it's actually the option tyre. It means he's got 2 more races to go with the medium tyre. As saying that, we see a lunge down the inside successfully completed. Good move, that nice clean move. But yes, his car will be even quicker when it's on the soft tyre. So I think he's going to be very happy with this.
And he has, as we say now, made that move. So finally he's cleared a place, got ahead of Dan Camish. That puts him into 3rd. That's Chilton at the back of that little queue. So Tom had been sitting there waiting. The move came, and through he goes then. So it's going to help him for the race to grid. It's going to help him in terms of points, and a big off there for Aidan Moffat coming down the hill out of Druids. Then major moment, bounces off the tyres. The former junior Bangor racer gets back on circuit. That's just a trifling scratch to Aidan, and he carries on. But weird how he got there. Yeah,
absolutely nothing in that, as you say. And he kept his foot in the throttle. Did you see the car, the front wheels spinning? He was still hard in the throttle trying to pull the car around, and I think he's got away with that very unscathed, actually, despite wiping out a couple of remarkables.
Now let's try and work out how he got there, because as you can see, he was having a battle with Lewis Selby at paddock up towards Druids. So Selby ahead, Moffat is into the back of Selby, just nudges him a little bit wide, and coming out of the corner, Lewis doesn't take too kindly to that, and there's more contact. Yeah, you said he was going to be more aggressive. You weren't wrong, were you, Harvey? Well done.
Is that... yeah, I think that might be a visit to see the clock, the course.
Subtle it wasn't.
No, look at the wheels spinning, look at it, putting the front round, getting it back on track. That's an angry driver.
Do you think Lewis Selby's met the Moffats? He's about to. Crikey. Right, that was brave, Lewis. The leader, meanwhile, is on lap 26, Ash Sutton. We've got 2 to go as they're Mikey Doble versus Chris Smiley. Now, this is for the lead of the independent competition. This matters. There could be a Restart Racing win here in the last couple of laps, because although they're fighting overall for 7th place, Powermax and Restart, the 2 teams in the Independent Cup. So if Smiley gets ahead of Doble, there's a class win.
Yeah, very important. The Independents a championship, a hugely important championship to these guys.
Nose to tail, Audi versus Hyundai. BMW's behind, Charles Rainford, who's made his way up the order, Daryl De Leon, who is making his way back up the order after that poor first couple of laps. The leader is onto his last lap though now, Ash Sutton. We're looking to see if Smiley can get ahead of Doble. Now we look at the leader, he's on his last lap, and Sutton, even though the lead gap's come down a little bit, has commanded this all the way.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with this. The extra boost advantage that Ricky Collard had was not enough to see him keep the lead for more than half a lap. I think he kept it for. Yeah, it's been an exemplary performance once again by Ash Sutton.
And Ricky's still on the line, just trying to unsettle Ash. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, we see there Tom Chilton coming back at Dan Camish for 4th place. Mikey Doble, I can tell you, is still ahead of Chris Smiley in the independent battle, as up towards the checkered flag. Then now will come Ash Sutton. He's heading towards the line. He's heading towards career win number 50 for Ash Sutton. He wins race 1 at Brands Hatch. 2nd across the line is Ricky Collard. It's Tom Ingram 3rd. Dan Camish just 4th ahead of Tom Chilton. And Mikey Doble is going to hang on. Is he to 7th place and win the independents? Yes, he is. Smiley behind him on the road. It was Sam Osborne 6th. Doble, Smiley 7th and 8th. Charles Rainford, Daryl De Leon 9th and 10th. And Josh Cook 11th from the back row ahead of Lewis Selby, who is provisionally 12th.
Yeah, some really interesting racing there. Just looking at those on the medium tyre, I mean, Ingram finished a magnificent 3rd. But actually, Mikey Doble, we didn't spot that in his battle with Smiley. He was on the medium tyre as well. So it looks like the medium tyre is a good tyre. Certainly if it warms up a little bit and there's less damp, that medium tyre is a good tyre. But soft is still the option, still the best option for quickest lap. And this man was on those tyres, Ash Sutton.
Yeah, the soft tyre is the prime tyre for the day, the medium being that option. However, excellent effort by Ingram to be the best of the mediums 3rd, Doble 2nd best 7th, Charles Rainford 9th on that medium tyre. Ricky Collard, as you would anticipate, threw everything at it. Didn't quite work, but again, he's going to be well placed for race 2. However, he won't have as much boost available.
No, all changes now according to race 1 positions in terms of available boost. So those at the very front will have the least. Won't make a damn bit of difference to Ash Sutton because he had the least in that one anyway. Let's check in the rollers going nicely under, so he's clear on that one. Nothing to worry about there. And now the weight check.
Indeed so. Ash Sutton then takes a 50th British Touring Car Championship race win. Ricky Collard second and Tom Ingram third. So Dan Camish fourth and Tom Chilton fifth. Sam Osborne raced well to be sixth, and Mikey Doble wins the independent contest seventh ahead of Chris Smiley, Charles Rainford and Daryl de Leon. 11th to Josh Cook. He and Lewis Selby both starting at the back of the grid for different reasons. Gordon Shedden 13th, got ahead of his teammate late race. Aaron Taylor-Smith then ahead of James Dorlin, the last of the point scorers. Dan Rowbottom was only 16th ahead of Aidan Moffat. Max Buxton 18th. And Nick Hamilton a retirement, so too Dexter Patterson. And Adam Morgan, whose trip to the gravel triggered the safety car. So there were points for the race to pole and full points, of course, for a full championship round. Ash Sutton has already a 34-point advantage, gulp, over Dan Camish. Ricky Collard's third ahead of Charles Rainford. He drops to fourth now. Tom Ingram is fifth. Mikey Doble sixth ahead of Aidan Moffat. Then Gordon Shedden and Dexter Patterson. Top 10 rounded out by Daryl de Leon. Ash Sutton starts on pole position for round 5. Ricky Collard with him at the front of the grid. Lining up third is Tom Ingram, and he's the first on the soft tyre. Dan Camish lining up with him on row 2 ahead of Tom Chilton, and Sam Osborne went well in race 1 in the Napa Racing Ford ahead of Mikey Doble and Chris Smiley. They're the top 2 in the independent contest. Charles Rainford and Josh Cook, 2 drivers to watch. They start on row 5. Then Daryl de Leon, he's now on that medium tyre. Gordon Shedden's on the soft, and he will be a man to watch as well. Aaron Taylor-Smith lines up on row 7 alongside James Dorlin. On the 8th row of the grid, there's Dan Rowbottom and Lewis Selby. And then behind those two, Aidan Moffat, who, as the team pointed out, has now crash-tested the Powermax Racing Audi, and it stood up to it well. Max Buxton will be with him on the 9th row of the grid. Nick Hamilton and Dexter Patterson, row 10. And then Adam Morgan is going to be at the rear of the grid. Aidan Moffat's crash testing earlier on, courtesy of contact from Lewis Selby. Penalty was given to him for that. In terms of the boost allocation, now it is on how you cross the line in race 1. So 4 laps go to Ash Sutton, 5 to Ricky Collard, 6 to Tom Ingram, 7 to Dan Camish, 8 to Tom Chilton, 10 laps for Sam Osborne, 12 to Mikey Doble, and Chris Smiley and everybody else have 14 laps worth of extra boost in this 24-lap race. Tyres, the soft tyre is the quicker, and that is the prime tyre. The medium is the option that you've got to run at least once in the day, and we've only really got 4 takers of that medium tyre, 5 takers of that medium tyre going into this race then. Drivers weaving around, getting warmth into the Goodyear rubber, and then they will turn their way from Druids down to Graham Hill Bend and then head towards the grid. If you look at the graphic, a white turbo boost element of that on the ladder during the race means they don't have it working, they're not using it. When it goes green, they're on the boost, and if it goes red, they've run out for that lap. And that rather somber looking graphic says they've run out for the race. So when the driver gets that, they have nothing left to give, and the savvy drivers, of course, know that they need to keep as much as they can towards the end of the race. Right, Tom Ingram, soft tyre, third on the grid, and a very quick car. I hesitate to say he's going to be a race winner, because yesterday we thought he was going to run away and hide in the race to pole, and he got 5th. But he has got to be a man to watch, let's at least say that. Yeah,
he should be the favourite, and he will attack very hard at the start, because Ash Sutton will be finding it much harder to heat up his medium tyres than Ingram will be his soft. So I think he'll be attacking at the start.
So Tom Ingram doesn't just want a race win, he's also in need of points, of course. It's not been a great start to the championship for him. There is Ash Sutton's view then, looking out of the back of the car. Ricky Collard will be with him at the front of the grid, but again on that slower medium tyre, and in Ricky's case now with far less boost than he had in the first race of the day. Sutton to pole position then, slots into place, wipers still on, a little bit of drizzle in the air. It's not come to anything all day. Remember, even in race 1, the drivers were talking about a greasy track surface. It's improved, but it's never quite gone away. It's still teasing teams up and down the pit lane, up and down the paddocks as the last few cars come into position. But this is the race where it does look as though the rain may come in earnest. Adam Morgan's car rebuilt, Herculean task by Cataclean Plato Racing. There was contact. Dan Camish's dad was telling me, Peter Camish said that they had a little problem shifting down through the gears, and that was all it took to just hit the back of Adam Morgan and fire him off. So it certainly wasn't deliberate, but there was contact, and Dan Camish given a penalty for his part in the incident. Cataclean Plato Racing with a lot of work to have done front and rear to that car in the break between races. Round 5 of the Kwik British Touring Car Championship is ready to go. The lights change, we go racing, and a good start is made by Collard. Not a great start by Ingram, and that enables Camish to come up alongside him on the outside. And Dan Cam tries to go all the way round Ingram as they drop into paddock. Sutton is your leader, Collard is second, Ingram does go third, Camish fourth, Osborne is fifth, and way wide in the background goes Aaron Taylor-Smith.
Yeah, it wasn't a great start, was it, by Ingram, considering he did have the softs. One of the restart racing cars going very wide there, and someone off into the barriers.
Selby, I think, isn't it, towards the back of the grid in a Napa Racing Ford by the look of it. It is Lewis Selby into the gravel. That could well be a safety car as Sutton leads the way, and he has made a break already. Look, yep, safety car called. Clerk of the course, Ian Watson, straight away, no messing. Safety car shouted for, and that will pick them up at the end of that one. We've got BMWs on the grass, we've certainly got an Audi on the grass. Mikey Doble there being squeezed a little bit wide coming through Surtees, but at the end of the lap, we're going to go safety car. Some have got the message, others haven't, and it all gets a little bit dramatic there, as you see in the pack, but the safety car is on track and the race neutralised.
Yeah, all the drivers get a safety car warning. Immediately the safety car comes out now in the car on their dashboard, so they should all react straight away, but they were all side by side coming through Surtees and into Clearway, so there's a little bit of sorting out of the order to be done for sure.
Over the timing line then, Sutton, Collard, Ingram the top 3, Dan Camish 4th, Charles Rainford 5th, Chris Smiley 6th, then you've got Chilton, Osborne, Doble and Rowbottom up to 10th from 15th. Good first lap by Dan Rowbottom.
Yeah, up 5 places.
Yeah, absolutely, in that Cataclean Plato Racing Mercedes. But for Napa Racing UK, it's Ash Sutton ahead of Team Virtue's Ricky Collard. Safety car on track then, and you can see this is all to get Lewis Selby's Ford out of the gravel. Whether he pushed or fell to get into the gravel, we'll find out on the replay.
There was definitely a bit of trepidity there on that lap one. The cars were skating around a little bit like they were at the start of race 1. This actually mirrors that in the sense that we've now got some laps behind the safety car where they can build a bit more temperature in the tyres, but there was definitely some difficult conditions. A lot of wipers were going, but it's going to take a little while just to get Selby's car out of the gravel. He's stuck buried there.
If we have a safety car, we can add a maximum of 3 laps on. That's going to make the time the race takes longer. It's going to take us closer to the predicted rain time, isn't it?
It is, yes. Although they'll get a bit of an advantage now warming their tyres, it could well be. Let's have a look further back for the Selby incident. He just lost the rear. Look at that. Came in too fast. Came in a little bit too fast. A little bit too much rear brakes on cold tyres, and the rear just went round. So a little bit of learning there for Lewis, just to learn how to set the brake bias up and the feel of the car in these conditions.
On board Daryl De Leon, up towards paddock.
And again, he didn't get a remarkable start. The cold rear tyres on the BMW don't give it the same launch that it does on the when it's in the dry. There's Rowbottom coming around the outside.
Smiley very wide, but surviving. Rowbottom goes through.
They're very bunched now. This is when the safety car is going to come out. As you can see, they're very side by side and mixed up in the pack here. What we can't see is on the dashboard when the safety car board comes out, but you can see why they had a little bit of trouble just sorting themselves out.
Had Mikey Doble on the grass, and whoops, there's De Leon almost into the back of Shedden as everyone gets the message and has to slow.
Yeah.
Dexter Patterson's on board. The other interesting thing about this, the amount of water on the lens.
Yeah, a lot. And as you see, the wipers going there, dispersing quite a bit of water. Now, he doesn't get a bad start, but here comes Rowbottom on the charge there. No, yeah. Or was it Morgan? It might have been Morgan, actually. Yes, it was. And very ginger through Paddock Hill Bend was Dexter Patterson there. And there you see the back end locking out. In fact, it happened as well on Buxton's car, didn't it? So it's the cold rear tyres on a greasy track and a bit of brake bias to the rear.
So the recovery work is still going on at Druids. This is Dexter Patterson's lap 1 view. We're still behind the safety car here at Brands Hatch. By this stage, the call has come. Dexter backs off. Everybody else ahead is trying to sort themselves out, not overlap, not gain places as the race is neutralised. So Sutton, Collard, Ingram, Camish, Rainford, Smiley is the top 6. Charles Rainford at the moment leading in independence. And Lewis Selby's car out of the way. Big slide there from Ricky Collard coming out of Druids as he tries to urge warmth into the tyres. And of course, one of the things race control will now be looking at is whether any overtaking did happen after that safety car instruction was given.
Yeah, well, they'll know when the signal came on the dashboard of the cars because they transmit it. So whilst we don't see that, they will know exactly what the positions were relatively at that point. So yeah, maybe some sorting out to do, but definitely conditions are definitely tricky, aren't they?
Yeah. So you've got 2 cars on the medium tyre and then a whole wave, another 10 behind on the softs. Sutton and Collard on that medium tyre. We are about to go onto lap 6. The road, I reckon, is just about clear at Druids, but the recovery vehicle is still just edging its way back to its refuge point, so we're not quite ready to go, but we're almost there. And even under the safety car, laps fly by, don't they?
He's clear now is the recovery vehicle, so the lights are due to go out along the bottom bend if there's going to be a restart, so we'll look for that now. The lights being switched off, are they? Yes.
Yep. Job done. Kieran Salmons, who's the observer in the safety car, presses the magic button, lights out. Ash Sutton gets the message, and it's now up to him to control the pace. So he starts to slow, bunches everybody up behind him, and Ricky Collard is crawling all over him again, ready for a scrap as they turn their way up towards Clearways. 4 laps of boost for Sutton, 5 laps for Collard, and we are good to go green. The safety car will peel back in, and here at Brands Hatch we are ready to go racing. That is how close Collard is to the back of Sutton. He's nearly on the back shelf of the car, ready to go green. Here we go. Ash Sutton accelerates away. We're up to 27 laps as they come across the timing line. Tom Ingram is on the attack as well, with all of that boost that he's got relative to Ricky Collard. He's got another lap over him. He's got 2 more laps than Sutton, and Ingram needs to be careful when he uses that, but he has got the pace on the soft tyre, don't forget.
Yeah, I said to Ash Sutton, you must enjoy racing against Ricky Collard. It's a bit like racing against yourself, isn't it? It really is, because Ricky is a terrier.
Indeed he is, and he's right there on the tail. Camish on the back of Ingram as well as they go out of Graham Hill Bend. 27 laps because of the safety car. You've also got a rather feisty looking Charles Rainford there, look on the back of Camish, and behind the Sam Osborne dropping back a little bit and having a real pack of cars queuing up behind him. The leaders come up towards Clearways, nose to tail for the lead, Sutton and Collard.
Yeah, well, I said Rainford might be one to watch with now boost allocation and the soft tyres on the BMW, and he's already looking strong at the start of this race.
Leaders go through then. So that puts 7 of 27 laps in the book as they go over the timing line, and Ricky Collard just 0.2 of a second back. The fastest lap, by the way, has been done by Nick Hamilton on that restart lap. So one for the scrapbook. Nick Hamilton, fastest lap last time through. Is in the background. Rowbottom goes wide and kicks up the dirt at Paddock. Leaders go into Druids, and that's Rainford on the inside of Camish for 4th place. BMW versus Ford. Rainford's leading the independent part of the race as well, and he just gets the job done at Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, that car's... Oh, he runs wide, though, but he should still get a decent exit. Up front, they're 3 abreast.
And Collard is going for the race lead, and he's going to go through. He does so. Ricky Collard leads. Sutton down to 2nd. Ingram all over the back of him, looking for the gap on the inside up towards Clearways. There you go, Ingram right on the tail of the Ford. Then you've got Rainford in 4th place, Camish 5th, and Ricky Collard now looking to try to get away as Sutton tries desperately to hang on to 2nd place. Meanwhile, here comes Rainford. He's round the outside of Ingram. He's going to put Charles 3rd. He's in at the end of the lap, only just. They were side by side over the timing line with 16 thousandths betwixt the two. Rainford on the outside. He's going to have to give up the place at Paddock. Yeah, he was on the wrong line for the corner. So it's Collard in the lead. 2nd is Sutton. 3rd now is Ingram, back ahead of Rainford, and drama in the background. There's a Cataclean Mercedes off the road, and it's Dan Rowbottom's car that's come to grief coming out of Paddock. This is not a good weekend for the Plato Racing squad.
Yeah, looks like the rain is coming down and just enough to make things tricky on these slick tyres, and that means mistakes are going to happen.
Does indeed. We work lap number 9, and the race leader remains Ricky Collard, and he's got about 3 lengths in hand. This is on board Daryl de Leon's car. Look at the rain on the windscreen now. Look at the amount of effort he's having to put into the car as he rides the curve, but it's all sideways. Good save, Daryl.
Oh, just managed to hold on to that, didn't he? He's on the medium tyre, which doesn't work as well on the BMW's team. Oh, sliding there. Did you see the overstick from the BMW coming onto the straight?
And Tom Ingram also having a bit of a drama as he tried to fend off Charles Rainford as the car's going towards Paddock Hill Bend. So Ricky Collard is the race leader, and he's 0.6 of a second up the road. And because the conditions are changing, nobody as yet has been able to go quicker than Nick Hamilton from earlier on. So he could yet make history by having his first fastest lap, and drama in the background off the road goes the Restart Racing Hyundai. That was Chris Smiley's car, and if he can't get it off that grass, I fear we might go yellow again.
Yeah, we might go yellow again, in which case it might be a time for people to come in and put wets on, because the forecast and the conditions are just getting wetter and wetter. I can see teams in the pit lane getting wet tyres ready.
Yeah. And if you're at the back of the queue, it's worth a gamble, isn't it? One of those teams, it's Cataclean Plato Racing. But in the meantime, Ricky Collard leads Ash Sutton. Charles Rainford is 3rd as they come over the line. He's done it this time to clear Ingram. Camish is 5th. Osborne is 6th. Doble 7th. Cook 8th. Taylor Smith 9th. Chilton is 10th. Shedden, Moffat, Patterson, De Leon and Morgan round out the point scorers. So Adam Morgan from the back of the grid into the points. Dan Rowbottom is coming down the pit lane, and perhaps the gamble is going to be for him onto wet tyres. They've nothing to lose. He's out of the points.
Nothing to lose, but under green flag conditions, he's going to go a lap down. That's the problem. Much better to do it under the safety car. Rainford is the one charging. He was able to use the traction coming off clearways. It's definitely going to go wet fairly soon. It's going to be picking your pit stop time to come in. And
Chris Smiley rejoined, so there's no threat of a safety car. So if people were banking on that, they've got to think again. We're not talking 4-second pit stops here like Formula 1 teams can do it, or even quicker. So Dan Rowbottom is going to lose a lap. There's mayhem coming out of clearways, I can tell you as well, because there's a Toyota in real strife. And there, Ash Sutton getting involved with Rainford as they come across the line. Ash Sutton hangs on to a big, big moment, but Ingram's up the inside of Rainford and goes 3rd.
Well, I'm not surprised. Rainford had the mother and father of moments there on the inside. Got on the grass, got a twitch on. I thought the car was going to swap ends. He did brilliantly to save it, but that was a really anxious moment for Rainford coming down the pit straight.
And that's not the first time in the race that we've seen a driver have that issue. So we'll get a replay of it. So Rainford goes to the inside.
Goes to the inside. There's a little bit of contact with Sutton, and both of them nearly go round. And wow, look at the rain coming down now. And
they're on slicks, remember, as Sutton's about to go for the race lead up the inside of Collard. Little rub, maybe. Ricky hangs on to the lead. Ash backed out of that to make sure that he doesn't get the lead and then get a penalty. But you can see now this is like driving on ice. Collard leading, Sutton 2nd. Ingram, Rainford has dropped back behind him. And Charles makes the move again. So undaunted by the dramas of the previous lap, he's going to have a go, but it doesn't come to anything. Camish is there in 5th. In 6th place, it is Osborne. Aaron Taylor Smith is 7th. Mikey Doble is 8th. Josh Cook 9th. Tom Chilton 10th. And pretty much now you've got the leading 9 all in a queue.
Yeah, and you just know that things are going to kick off more and more during this race. The traction of that BMW, the white BMW of Charles Rainford in 4th place off clearways, is fantastic.
Collard on the defensive out of Graham Hill Bend. This is what I was talking about before with dramas coming into clearways. It was Gordon Shedden who'd had one moment, then got connected by Daryl de Leon, and they both just about saved it. Meanwhile, we wait for the drama, and here it comes. Collard gets a bit crossed up coming into clearways. He goes wide. Sutton's up the inside, and sideways Rainford gets hit by Camish. That's done damage to the BMW. That delays him. Aaron Taylor Smith is picking his way up the order nicely. The Toyotas look, Cook behind him, are going really well as the weather worsens, but it's still Ricky Collard in the lead. It's still Sutton 2nd. It's Ingram 3rd.
Well, the safest place to be is in the lead here, believe it or not. Camish goes massively wide with a big oversteer moment. He's going to keep it on the track and come back on, but he's lost a ton of places. And basically, these cars are just falling over each other. It's impossible to drive a steady lap. You just keep having mistakes. A battered BMW. Rainford, though, still in the race.
Battered? That's a scratch. This is touring car racing. So Ricky Collard the leader, Sutton 2nd, Ingram 3rd, and Aaron Taylor Smith Smith is up to 4th place. Now, he started 13th, and Aaron has quietly got on with the job. Yeah, OK, others have had dramas, but he has not. And now look, Ingram into the back of Sutton, who's all sideways. Tom doesn't force the issue, but he then gets a bootful of Taylor Smith. Charles Rainford goes to the outside. Then there's Josh Cook in all of this as well, over the timing line. And Collard has now checked out while all that drama was going on behind him. Ricky leads by 1.5 seconds, and Dan Rowbottom on wet tyres, fastest lap of the race.
Well, there you go. But he's 1 lap behind. But if everyone does have to stop for wets eventually, he could be in the pound seat.
And Dan Cammish is coming in for wets after his trip through the gravel. Remember, he was so wide at paddock, he's into the pit lane now. This is Josh Cook's view, and Cook in turn is gaining ground all the time, having now worked his way past both Rainford and also Tom Ingram. So Josh Cook for the podium, that's a real possibility, bearing in mind he started race 1 last on the grid.
Well, we're still only on lap 15 of 27, so if the heavens really open, it becomes impossible to drive on slicks. Everyone will have to pit, and that means then, A, they'll be all busy in the pit lane, but B, those that have already pitted will gain the lap back.
Aaron Taylor Smith up into 2nd place, look. He's 1.5 seconds back from Ricky Collard, and he's lapping quicker. That's the first lap we've seen Taylor Smith with a bit of clear real estate ahead of him. He is lapping faster than the race leader. Smith's the one to watch now.
He is, and his teammate Cook, of course, is right up there as well, as Sam Osborne goes wide at Paddock Hill Bend. That's the tricky one, because it's a fast corner. You put a lot of load on the outside rear. And of course, a slick in the wet doesn't offer up a lot of grip.
That was the Cammish line. Gordon Shedden into the pit lane as well. So Ricky Collard now having to hang on in there in the lead of the race. He doesn't want to have to pit, but he's still got 12 laps to go. 12 laps of tiptoeing around. Max Buxton here versus Nick Hamilton. Remember, they went on to wets in the earlier race, but it was the wrong gamble. But for the race lead, they're nose to tail, because now, look, Ricky Collard has been reeled in by Aaron Taylor Smith, having the race of his life here. Aaron is going fantastic guns.
He's going brilliant. Here's Aaron Taylor Smith. He's got a taste for it. He lunges up the inside. He's got super confidence in that Toyota Corolla. Hopefully he won't run wide. As look at the behind. Josh Cook's having a huge moment. Paddock claims another victory. They all keep going. But let's look at the lap times. Dan Rowbottom is 4 seconds a lap quicker than these front-running cars. So if the conditions get impossible on slicks and they have to pit, Rowbottom will be the one that comes through.
So Aaron Taylor Smith, race leader, as the field now come along Cooper Straight, and Ash Sutton's about to go back through. Look on the inside line, that puts him back up into 2nd place. You're right, Rowbottom lapping demonstrably quicker than anybody else right now, but having dropped off the lead lap, he needs others to make a pit stop to bring him back into the equation.
Yeah, it only happens if the weather conditions get so bad that the slicks just can't grip anymore and they have to come in, but they're just eking out. They've got another 9 laps to go though. There's Rowbottom, and look how different his car looks on circuit. Looks like it's on rails compared to the leaders.
Absolutely right, and he is charging along, but this is a replay of what happened to Josh Cook into paddock.
Yeah, he's actually gone in a bit too quick. He's gone out really wide and high, just can't turn the car in or slow it down, but he did well to save it.
So Aaron Taylor Smith leads the way. His last win, Rockingham 2016. And could this be a race that he wins against all the odds? It's all kicking off behind as well. Look, James Dorl into the inside. You had Chilton and Cook getting themselves together, and Chilton is now off the road as Cook goes through and gains the place. Although Gordon Shedden is in the pit lane, it's not for tyres. He's been there now for about 5 laps, so Gordon Shedden's a retirement. But the sister Laser Tools with MB Motorsport Toyota leads the way. So Aaron Taylor Smith is 2.2 seconds in the lead. He's on the soft tyre, but everything has just clicked for him. Look at the gap.
He's got a feel for these conditions. He's got the car underneath him, and I can't tell you how difficult it is to drive in these conditions. We just saw a shot of Chilton coming onto the pit straight, and the car was nearly sideways, and it's a front-wheel drive car. That's how little grip he's got.
And that is Chilton, and that's at paddock, and he's not going to get off that wet grass easily. He's going to have to roll it backwards. So Aaron Taylor Smith counting down 9 laps to go. OK, he came into this with a whole load of boost, but even so, he has not put a wheel wrong.
No, this has got nothing to do with boost anymore. This has got to do with driver feel, the car underneath you, just having the confidence to push it when the car is wanting to fly off the road.
That's the replay of Chilton getting it wrong at paddock.
Yeah, well, he'd already had a moment just coming onto the pit straight, so he's got no faith in the rear.
The race leader over the timing line onto lap number 20. 3.2 seconds clear now is Aaron Taylor-Smith. And as I said earlier on, he has done all of this from 9th place on the grid. Sorry, from lower back on the grid this time around. He's chipped his way forward, Aaron Taylor-Smith. So from 13th for race 2, he's gone forward and now leading by 3.3 seconds. Still the fastest lap to Dan Rowbottom, but now the drivers coping as best they can. Nobody else suggesting they're going to come to the pit lane. They can't afford to drop off the lap.
No, the two Audis fighting very hard between them, Doble and Moffat. But the conditions have just about stayed the same. The heavens haven't absolutely opened. The conditions have stayed the same. They're just about keeping some temperature in the tyres. On board with Josh Cook.
It's James Dorwell in ahead. Who goes
look how the car is twitching. The car is twitching on the edge of grip all the time.
Race leader through. Aaron Taylor-Smith now has 7 laps to go. Ash Sutton second, and that is Max Buxton off the road over at Clearways. So he has looped it. This is Dexter Patterson, 10th. He is now, bearing in mind Dexter started 20th, so Paul O'Neill's urgings on the grid have certainly paid dividends because he's got himself now into the top 10, and he's not done yet either, Dexter Patterson.
Definitely not. I'm just looking out the window to see whether Max Buxton can get the car going again, because he only arrived very gently at the wall there. Looks like he's trying to get it, and he can. That's good. That will mean no safety car.
And actually, you can roll it downhill there, can't you, because of the camber of that grass, so he can let gravity help him onto the road. Adam Morgan has also gone onto the wet tyre. More tyre at Clearways, and it's Tom Ingram that comes off worse this time.
He just managed to save that from rotating with a prodigious boot of throttle on the front-wheel drive car, but that was very nearly Ingram round.
And look at this, Aidan Moffat and Mikey Doble both in the mix as well. To the inside line now, Aidan Moffat. Moffat started 17th and he's up to 4th.
Yeah, those Audis going very nicely, a bit like the Toyota.
That's Rainford going for it, up the inside, into the gravel, bit of help on the way. Charles Rainford's in the gravel, and that could be a safety car.
That will be a safety car. He won't reverse that out. Another car off at the top as well. We're going to see it in a second. There's another car off where Rainford went.
It's Osborne.
It is Osborne, that 100% safety car now. Well, the trouble with this is they're going to lose temperature.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Race stop. So whether we get a restart, we'll wait and see, but the decision has been taken, rather than the teams coming in and changing tyre, stop the race. So it's a tough call, that, for race control, because arguably the drivers and the teams ought to be making the decision, not waiting for race control to do it for them. But the argument will be safety. Lauren Taylor-Smith is just delighted, because if we get a checkered flag now, Aaron has won it. But there is time to go racing again. We're being told there won't be a restart, so it looks as though with 2 cars in fairness, the amount of time taken to move those out of the way would probably be more than we had laps for anyway. Yeah, because we've already had some safety car laps.
Yeah, can't take any more. And it's very difficult to move 2 cars that close together.
Yeah.
Session will not restart. It is a result, and it is a win for Aaron Taylor-Smith. What a fantastic drive.
After a 10-year break, Aaron, he's done it. Fantastic. I think the pit lane will be delighted for him, because Aaron is a great character. Yes, they are delighted, certainly, at the Speedworks Motorsport Garage. This is the MB Motorsport Laser Tools Racing part of it, and Aaron's first win for both Speedworks and for Mark Blundell for MB Motorsport for the Laser Tools backing. But we know that Aaron is a character. Sometimes he's incredibly laid back, sometimes he's incredibly fiery, but he works incredibly hard at his racing, works incredibly hard with his sponsors, and always finds a smile on his face. He has done a really good job of plugging away, came out of the championship to go racing GT cars for a little while. He's come back into touring car racing, and that win after a 10-year break, 10-year gap, has been very well deserved. And Lauren, his wife, can barely believe it. Craig Pawley, his engineer, joining in the celebrations. And you can see now just how much a win means. So now the drivers going through the ride height check, and all looking good so far. So Aaron Taylor-Smith clears the roller to check the ride height. Remember, the car's all on slick tyres, So they were set up for dry conditions, although the conditions changed. The setting of the car hasn't, so we're not too panicky about that ride height check. But cracking job by Aaron Taylor-Smith. And I don't think anybody in the pit lane will begrudge him that win.
No, I mean, I said it in comms, but those conditions are really, really difficult in any car, front or rear wheel drive car, because the grip goes away so suddenly. You're gripping and then you're suddenly not, and that's why you see the cars twitching around. So you have to keep the pace up to keep the warmth. You have to have a feel for it, and he did it the best.
Fantastic job, and you can see how delighted Aaron Taylor-Smith is. Lauren is there to congratulate him, and there will be plenty of people, I'm sure, going to say well done over the course of the next couple of hours before race 3. Aaron doesn't exactly know who to go to next in these celebrations, but that was a really well-deserved win. He didn't luck into that. He drove fabulously, and he absolutely deserved it. Round 5 of the Kwik Fit British Touring Car Championship, won by Aaron Taylor-Smith. Ash Sutton second, 3.5 seconds nearly behind at flag 4. Ricky Collard third from Tom Ingram. Aidan Moffat taking 5th place, having started way back 17th on the grid. Mikey Doble 6th ahead of Josh Cook, and then James Dorlin, Dexter Patterson 9th in the top 10 of a really frantic race, rounded out by Daryl De Leon. In 11th, it was Nick Hamilton, a really good result for him, ahead of Chris Smiley. 12th he was, after being on the grass on a spin mid-race. Dan Rowbottom 13th, a lap down going on to the wets. Dan Camish, Adam Morgan, likewise. We lost Tom Chilton. We lost Gordon Shedden, we lost Lewis Selby, Sam Osborne and Charles Rainford as well. And just a reminder of why we ended up with that red flag. We had dramas up at Druids, so Sam Osborne there. Does he get a bit of help? Oh, he does. That was Rowbottom, wasn't it, up the inside?
Yeah, Rowbottom on the wets, obviously coming through, but just a clip at the wrong moment there. It was under yellows though,
yeah.
So that's a bit of a naughty one, because Rainford was already off.
Yeah, and could have just been opening the door ready to get out. I mean, that was a bit hairy, that. So yes, you can imagine it being looked at. 5 races into the championship, Ash Sutton is ahead of Ricky Collard with a 44-point margin. Tom Ingram is third, and it's Dan Camish 4th, with Mikey Doble and Charles Rainford behind. Aidan Moffat 7th. Aaron Taylor-Smith's win puts him 8th, with Dexter Patterson and Gordon Shedden rounding out the top 10. James Dorlin starts round 6 on pole position. Josh Cook with him at the front of the grid. It's going to be Mikey Doble who starts third, and his teammate Aidan Moffat is alongside. Starting 5th, Tom Ingram, who's had a pointsy day but not a stellar day. Ricky Collard has had a strong day, and he's going from 6th on this grid. And the 4th row is where you find Ash Sutton and race 2 winner Aaron Taylor-Smith. Then Dexter Patterson starting on row 5. Daryl De Leon for company. On the 6th row, there is Nick Hamilton and Chris Smiley lining up alongside, ahead of Dan Rowbottom and Dan Camish. The 8th row, Adam Morgan and Charles Rainford, who've had mixed weekends thus far both. Sam Osborne is on row 9 with Max Buxton for company. Tom Chilton has Gordon Shedden alongside him. Lewis Selby rounds out the grid. 24 laps are ahead of us. Only 5 drivers on the medium tyre: James Dorlin, Chris Smiley, Charles Rainford, Sam Osborne and Tom Chilton. In terms of boost, 14 laps for James Dorlin, 12 for Josh Cook, 10 laps for Mikey Doble, and you go all the way back to Aaron Taylor-Smith then as the race 2 winner on just the 4. So let's see what he can do in all of this. The majority of the field on that softer, quicker tyre. So James Dorlin, as he's been saying, just needs to try and get up front and make the car as wide as possible.
Yeah, but we've had one Toyota Corolla win already for Aaron Taylor-Smith, so I'm sure Josh Cook will be looking to add to that today and get his first win of the year.
Yeah, Josh perennially unlucky, it seems, and it's been tyres that have blighted him at Donington and also here as well. I mean, getting a tyre drama on the way to the grid for race 1, I mean, the guy can't catch a break, but this could be it. Let's see. There is the Speedworks Corolla Racing entry, the red and white car on the outside of the 1x1 staggered grid, the front notional row, and you're riding here with Ash Sutton as he pulls up to 7th on the grid. You can nowadays have one team member on the pit wall ready to guide that car into its grid box. Then the mechanic in question has to leg it from the pit wall before the race starts to try and get round the problems of people just parking slightly in advance of the box like they did at Donington.
Dan Camish there starting in the middle of the road because there was oil on his pit box, so he's been given permission to start alongside that regular starting position, but no further forward.
Yeah, it wasn't his oil in that grid box, it was from one of the earlier support races, the F4 race. So green flag is waved at the back. Round 6 of the Kwik Fit British Touring Car Championship is ready to go. 5 red lights will be on. When the lights go out, we go racing for the last time at Brands. The best start made by Tom Ingram potentially as he tries to get up between the Audis. Josh Cook tries to go defensive against Mikey Doble. James Dorlin leads, and round the outside storms Ash Sutton, who is going to be able to take the race lead, is he, from 7th on the grid. Ash Sutton's up to 2nd. There's drama in the background as Osborne is off the road. Sutton to the outside of Dorlin. He's not quite done it. There's drama behind him, and Sutton, he's just inches away from being collected by a sliding Audi. Dorlin and Sutton side by side down to Graham Hill Bend. A mega start by Ash Sutton. He's going to go round the outside for the race lead here.
Well, side by side for all the way round the track. I think that's Hamilton off in the background. Dorlin finally claims it. Both the Audis were sideways but managed to not spin. And Ingram up the inside, pushes Sutton wide. This is all kicking off like a typical race 3. Collard's in there now trying to squeeze his nose in the inside of Sutton.
So what looked like Ash Sutton for the race lead, he ends up 3rd at the end of the lap, and Tom Ingram's going to go round the outside of James Dorlin for the lead. He's on the outside line. Sutton's trying to just about get in front of Collard, and he has done it. Now Ash Sutton to the inside. Dorlin defends from him. Ingram goes round the outside into the lead. Cook's gone backwards in the first few corners, and he's in about 6th-ish place, running up alongside the next to the Audis of Mikey Doble, and it's still kicking off as they come down to Graham Hill Bend. Ingram has now hit the front. 2nd is Dorlin, and you're on board with Josh Cook, and that's Ricky Collard getting back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, Ricky got a little nerf there from Ash Sutton on the exit of the Graham Hill. That stymied his, and he's off again now at Clearways. Just manages to regain it.
Aaron Taylor-Smith was close by. There's a field dragged onto the circuit. Dexter Patterson is there. Dan Rowbottom is going nicely in the first of the 2 Mercedes as they head up towards the line. This is Dexter Patterson's view, but it's Tom Ingram leading the way. James Dorlin 2nd, and he's also leading the independents. Sutton is 3rd. 4th is Doble. Cook 5th. Taylor-Smith 6th. But there's plenty more to shake out of this race, and through the pit lane and just rejoining Nick Hamilton, who's been in strife once again.
Yeah, well, he was off, wasn't he, at Graham Hill on the first lap, probably got a radiator full of grass, but this race has kicked off like a pinball race.
Down through Graham Hill Bend, Dexter Patterson's car you're looking back from, but Ingram now is checking out, isn't he? He has hit the front, he's getting away. Remember that Tom Ingram, a 3rd and a 4th during the day, 7 laps worth of boost, and he's on that soft tyre, but James Dorlin coming back at him under braking there.
Yeah, great first lap, worked out well. First couple of laps worked out well for Ingram, but it looked like it was going to be Sutton, didn't it, off the line, but he got boxed out. Everyone was playing hardball, and they're lucky all to still be going, quite frankly.
But Ash Sutton from 7th on the grid to be vying for the lead at turn 1. He had no business being there.
No, not really, but round the outside worked, at least initially. Look at Dorlin, though, right up behind Ingram with that medium shod Hyundai, but of course he's using all that boost. He's got more boost than the others. He's had 14 laps to start with. He's used 2 already, and we're only on lap 4.
Aidan Moffat starts. He's going to be investigated after the race. James Dorlin has done the fastest lap of the race, and that, I think, is Ricky Collard in trouble. So it looks like he's got some grass in the front of the car as well, but Ricky Collard's strong day is coming to an end.
Yeah, he went across the grass, didn't he, after first being nerfed out by Ash Sutton, and then across the grass at Sturties and Clearways. I think he's probably got an overheating engine.
Fastest lap of the race now, Josh Cook, who goes through, and he's on the tail look of Mikey Doble's Audi as they head up the hill then. You've still got Sutton on the attack as he tries to clear Dorlin. Tom Ingram is edging away, but he's certainly not pulling away.
No, it just shows the boost is quite effective. I mean, Ingram has got 6 laps left, which is, he only used 1 lap of boost so far.
A drama coming down the hill involving Chris Smiley and also Lewis Selby. Tim said at the start of the day, Lewis had told him he was going to be more aggressive. Well, he's lived up to that bill matter, and Chris Smiley won't take kindly to being roughed up like that either. Chris felt rather hard done by Toyota's ganging up on him in race 2, and
to be fair, they came out of the corner side by side, didn't they? I wouldn't really apportion too much blame. Sutton trying to get... Oh, no, sorry, that's
Mikey Doble going for 2nd place round the outside, and Mikey Doble's going to do it. He's cleared Sutton. He's alongside Dorlin. The Audi is a very rapid car. All of this is playing into Ingram's hands. He is now getting away, but Mikey Doble on the outside of Druids has the inside for Graham Hill Bend. He's going to be 3rd. just, but Sutton's on the outside, Cook's there behind them. James Dorlin on that medium tyre, struggling now to fend them all off. Who does he defend from? Is it Doble on one side, Sutton on the other? Cook joins the party as well, but Doble is ahead of Sutton, at least for now.
It's a great race, this, and Aaron Taylor-Smith, race 2 winner. Look, he's getting stuck in as well.
Tom Ingram then over the timing line. He's building that gap all the while. There he is. Now he's checked out. Big gap over Dorlin second. He's up to 2 seconds. You've got Doble third. Fourth was over the line. Sutton, then Cook, then Taylor-Smith sixth. Going nicely again. This is Dexter Patterson's view. He's seventh. Dexter's had a good day.
He's had a very good day. I mean, all the Audis running very strongly, as we've seen, but James Dorlin is doing a mighty defence job here. Yes, he's let Ingram go, don't blame him for that, but he's doing a mighty defence. All these cars behind him are on soft tyres, literally all the way down to Chilton in 13th place.
And the battle that James Dorlin is now in with Mikey Doble is not only for second place, it's for the independent class lead. So doubly important that the black and blue and red Restart Racing Hyundai fends off at the Mikey Doble driven LKQ Euro car parts with Power Max Racing Audi A3. As across the line comes Dexter Patterson, but he loses out there to Daryl De Leon, who clears him and goes through into Paddock Hill Bend. And then behind them in 9th place is Dan Rowbottom, who's had a good run here, up from 13th on the grid.
Well, you were on board with De Leon up at Clearways, and there was just the tiniest of rubs on the back of Patterson's car, which was enough to just ease him wide, and then De Leon got through on the straight.
And Rowbottom losing out to Adam Morgan, so the teammates switch places. So up to 9th goes Adam Morgan, rebuilding after, of course, a decent qualifying and race to pole, but then the accident in race 1. So he now goes to the head of that Inter-Nissan Mercedes battle. Behind Dan Rowbottom is Charles Rainford. And I just thought for a moment Rowbottom was heading for the pits. He had a really tight line coming out of Clearways, but he stays out on track as now through to second place goes Mikey Doble, and into the lead of the independence class goes Mikey Doble. Has that opened the floodgates, I wonder?
Well, they used his boost there on a lap that Dorlin wasn't using it, and that was enough to see him sail past.
4th it's Sutton, 5th it's Cook, 6th now is the BMW of Daryl De Leon, who's got himself up and past Aaron Taylor-Smith. As you look at Sutton, you're on board with Josh Cook coming out of Graham Hill Bend, so Ford ahead of Toyota.
Yeah, of course, Sutton and Cookie go way back in their touring car careers to being teammates. Oh, a late lunge up the inside, but beautifully held by Sutton. He got that car stopped without breaking, locking up or running wide, and he's now finally opened that gap on Dorlin, but Dorlin's coming back down the straight. Will he get his nose in front as De Leon swoops past?
Here's Sutton, he's still on the inside. James Dorlin tries to close the door, but Ash Sutton's got his nose in front midway around Paddock Hill Bend. James Dorlin has to let him go, so Sutton is up into 3rd place. Dorlin down to 4th, and 5th is about to be De Leon. Josh Cook, who we thought might be on for a race win looking at the grid, not really being able to convert the front row. Still something not quite right, one feels, in the way that car is set up. It's just not quite working as well as Cookie expected.
No, definitely not, definitely not. De Leon, this is the best opportunity that they've had. Remember how strong the BMWs were last year around this circuit, but that was in hot conditions, and now he's back on the soft tyres with boost. He's going very nicely indeed.
Absolutely right. So Ingram, Doble, Dorlin, Sutton, De Leon and Cook the top 6 at the start of this lap. They come over the line with Sutton up to 3rd and Dorlin 4th. At the end of it, another move is on the cards there. Look, Adam Morgan to the inside of Aaron Taylor-Smith. Those Mercedes both showing good pace, aren't they, in race 3? Both the cars running pretty much together, and Morgan is the one, if you like, now forcing open the doors. He has cleared Patterson, he's cleared Aaron Taylor-Smith as well. Rowbottom has now got to do likewise. Yeah,
I really think once we get, this isn't a great circuit for that car, but the information they've gathered will certainly help them, and I think that Mercedes will go much better when we get to Snetterton for the next race.
Aaron Taylor-Smith then in that Laser Tools with MB Motorsport Toyota, fending off Dan Rowbottom's Cataclean Plato Racing Mercedes. Behind them you've got Aidan Moffat storming along. We've had a change for 4th as well. This is the replay of Daryl De Leon having a go at James Dorlin.
Well, if there's half a gap, make a whole gap is what I'd say to that.
It's similar to the move on Ingram yesterday in the race to pole, and it worked better today.
And Cookie goes through as well, taking the opportunity of a slowed up Dorlin on the exit of Graham Hill.
Dorlin still the best of those on the medium tyre, but he's now dropping further and further down the order as Tom Ingram now is on quite a comfortable Sunday afternoon drive. Second is Doble, leading the independents. Third is Ash Sutton, who has done the fastest lap. And now you've got Adam Morgan trying to go all the way around the outside of James Dorlin. Nicely done.
Oh, good pass. Dorlin was very gentlemanly there, not leaning on him, but Adam Morgan's having a storming third race.
Absolutely right. Great speed out of that car, and Adam Morgan, I think, has had a very good start to the season. Perhaps a lot of the attention has been on Dan Rowbottom after that race to pole win, but Adam's had certainly a strong weekend here in terms of pace. Mows the lawn on the inside of paddock to fend off Dexter Patterson, but Adam now is into the top 6, going nicely.
As Josh Cook gets the warning flag for track limits already.
And another one has gone the way of Tom Ingram, incidentally, the race leader. They come down the hill. This is lap 13 in a 24-lap race. Fastest lap to Ash Sutton, and he is, as we've seen, all over the back of Mikey Doble for second place, but Tom Ingram continues to build the lead. This is Sutton's view.
On board with Sutton. Give you an update on the boost laps available. Sutton has 3 laps, and Dorlin has 4 laps for Sutton, 5 for Doble.
And Tom Ingram, the race leader, on 6. So he started with 7, he's used 1, and he's got plenty in reserve should he need late race, as the cars again dive into Druids. Now getting a track limits warning flag to Adam Morgan, by the way, as downhill comes Ash Sutton, trying to work out where he can make a move against Mikey Doble. It's not just happening for him yet, but a demon first lap by Ash Sutton. And if he can go away from here, having come in with the least amount of boost for qualifying in the race to pole, and to come out of that with a race to pole win and a win, a second and maybe a third out of the 3 races, I mean, that's a mega weekend.
It's a superb weekend, really is. Coming down the hill here, Dexter Patterson on Dan Rowbottom. Are they going to make some contact at the end? Yes, they are.
And that opens the door, does it not, for Aidan Moffat to get ahead of Rowbottom. So Moffat is 9th, Patterson stays 10th, Gordon Shedden's up to 11th, and Robo pushed back to 12th. So that won't go down awfully well with him, but he can fight back, no doubt, as Ingram continues to lead. You can see there Gordon Shedden sitting on the back of Dexter Patterson as he tries to work out where a move might be makeable as they come into Graham Hill Bend now. Lap 15. Tom Ingram's advantage, very nearly 4 seconds, 3.8 last time around. And still Mikey Doble is keeping Ash Sutton at bay. Looking back from Dexter Patterson's Audi, Gordon Shedden right behind him in the Toyota, looking to try to find a gap. He might have to make his own gap first, though.
He may well have to. As you say, the lead for Ingram, a very comfortable 3.7 seconds. He's just gone past Nick Hamilton, who's come back out after the visit to the pits to clear the grass out.
And now Shedden's on the attack, going up towards Druid, but Patterson defends, so Gordon has to think about the outside line and then try to duck up the inside coming out of the corner. Rowbottom is there behind them as well. Then you've got Chilton 13th, Charles Rainford 14th. Bad weekend really for Charles, had such a good banker weekend at Donington, 2nd in the championship coming here, but he really has been shoveled down the championship standings after a tough weekend. He will bounce back at Snetterton, no doubt, next time out. But it's not been as good a weekend for BMW on the Indy circuit this year as last, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. But Snetterton's another circuit that does suit them. The traction off all the corners, good for the BMW. But they're facing increased competition this year from a lot of saloon front-wheel drive cars that are quick in a straight line. As off goes Max Buxton. That's coming onto the pit straight, so that's on the exit of Clearways.
Yeah, he's got away with it, but he's a long way back now, sadly, is Max. Dan Camish up into 17th place. Dan's having a difficult race. He got penalised early on in race 1, but here he has gone backwards from where he was on the grid, and that car's never really come alive, has it, sadly? He's on the medium tyre, though. So the race leaders are, again, over the timing line, into Paddock Hill Bend, and Tom Ingram on his own, utterly dominant in this race now. 2nd and 3rd, Doble getting away from Sutton once again, and then in 4th place, Darrell De Leon, who's worked his way up from 10th on the grid. He's had a good run.
Yeah, and Adam Morgan in 6th, best result for that team today as well. Nice that they can at least go away, hopefully, with something from this weekend.
Yeah, Adam Morgan a retirement and a 15th. His results of the day hitherto. Dan Rowbottom a 15th and a 13th. So, yeah, to get the car into the top 6, that will be quite a boost for the team. A tough weekend for them. Rowbottom busy in a battle here, as you can see, because he's got Charles Rainford behind, Tom Chilton ahead, Rowbottom on that soft tyre, having been roughed up at Graham Hill Bend a couple of laps back. So there'll be 6 laps to go next time over the line for Tom Ingram, who is heading towards the line now. And as he goes by, the advantage continues to stretch, and that's Max Buxton out of the race. He's parked it coming out of Druids, and Max Buxton's day is done.
Yeah, he's in a nice safe place though on the inside, so good thinking by Max to pull the car off in a safe place. There you see it on the left, just behind the graphic, so no danger of any safety cars or anything else for that.
Now Sutton, look, has got a little bit nearer once again to Doble, and now there's a crucial tipping point has happened in that Ash has more laps of boost available than does Doble, so now he really can push.
Yeah, so he's been pushing Doble into using his boost for defensive purposes, so that now he has 1 lap more advantage. He doesn't want to go into the last lap with both of them having a lap of boost together, so he's got to get past before the last lap.
Here they come, nose to tail. Sutton makes the move now. Look, he gets the run, gets the toe, comes over the timing line. He's on the outside up towards Paddock. He's used the boost. If anybody can go around the outside, it's Ash, but he wants to get the undercut. He's way up the curb on the inside, positions the car for the inside line up towards Druids. The move should be on here for Ash Sutton to go second. He brakes as late as he can. Beautiful.
That is an absolute classic Ash Sutton manoeuvre. Go to the outside, cut back as close as you possibly can to the rear bumper of the car in front on the apex, and get the overlap immediately so that the car can't shut it down before you get to the next corner. Perfectly judged manoeuvre.
So a win and 2 seconds could be what Ash walked away from Brands with, which would be a stellar performance.
It is a stellar, and you have to make hay while the sun shines. While his car's been working really well at these first 2 races, he's been absolutely banking the points. But it just shows that this car is very much, certainly in Ash Sutton's hands, the equal of Ingram and the Hyundai. Watch this, we'll see if we can see the gap as he cuts back. He knows what he's going to do. He's waiting for Doble. Now there's inches between the 2 cars, using a little bit of inside curve as well. There's no way that Doble could come back inside him and cover him off. He used the boost just ever so briefly on the run up towards Druids to make sure the move was on. Incidentally, as there, Aaron Taylor-Smith and Gordon Shedden are busy battling there with Aidan Moffat. Sam Osborne is on his last warning for track limits in the other Napa Racing UK Ford that had been going really well in race 1, but was in the gravel in race 2. This, in the meantime, Dexter Patterson's view, as he is still running in 11th place. He's had a really strong weekend, as Dexter. Yeah, really good. All the Audis seem to be just working well, and they look like they're going to work well at all the different circuits as well. They're in for such a strong year as 2 MB Motorsport Toyota Corollas come into Paddock Hill side by side, with Aaron Taylor-Smith just in front of Gordon Shedden.
Absolutely, and both wanting to be top dog in that team, seemingly. Down the hill they come. Behind them you can see there's Aidan Moffat, then Dexter Patterson, then Tom Chilton in 12th place. Josh Cook still the best of the Toyotas, albeit 5th and 2nd on the grid. And we've currently got Tom Ingram working lap 22 out of 24. It's been a dramatic race as expected, although Ingram has had a relatively easy time of it for the lead of a race 3 touring car race. Yeah,
I think the only drama was he got a track limits warning, but he certainly had enough in hand behind him to just temper any running wide at different corners. Side by side again into Paddock.
And this time around, Taylor-Smith and Shedden still running close to one another. Accelerate towards Druids. Taylor-Smith hanging on to the place. Gordon Shedden behind. Ash Sutton, remember, has done the fastest lap of the race, so there's the bonus point for that. And he's on target for 2nd. Tom Ingram is on target for the win. And he is heading towards the timing line, ready to start the last lap, as the Toyotas are nose to tail.
Yeah, the only difference between those Toyotas is that Aaron Taylor-Smith has no laps of boost left, and Gordon Shedden has 2.
And he's going to be able to use the boost coming up towards Clark Curve. Look, tightens the line, gets up the inside of Aaron Taylor-Smith. Remember, Gordon Shedden's huge experience and success in this championship will stand for something, and he goes through on the inside, and he's already on the lights there to try to terrorise James Dorlin out of the way. Last lap, Tom Ingram leads by 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, Dorlin has no laps of boost left either, and on this last lap, Shedden has 1, so he may well be able to pass him, but Ingram is going to take this victory. It'll finish his day on a high note.
It will be career win 41 for Tom Ingram then. The Team Virtue Hyundai comes through Clark Curve. He's already on the lights to celebrate. Been a tough start to the season for Tom, but he's going to bounce back. Tom Ingram wins race 3 at Brands Hatch. Over the line he comes, delighted with the win. Ash Sutton second at the end of a fantastic day for him for points. Third, Mikey Doble, he wins the Independents. But here, look, James Dorlin still battling with Gordon Shedden, with Aaron Taylor-Smith. Fourth was De Leon, Cook fifth, Morgan sixth. Seventh up towards the line is going to be Shedden, Dorlin eighth, ninth Taylor-Smith, Aidan Moffat 10th. Then it's Patterson, Chilton, Rainford, Osborne, Selby 15th, Camish 16th, and Rowbottom has fallen back into 17th place.
Yeah, so just on that last lap, a great move by Gordon Shedden to get up the inside of Dorlin at the very last corner. But it's all celebrations in the Accelerate team.
Bruce Ingram, Tom's dad, there delighted as he stands on the pit wall. Tom will be very happy as well. Yeah, the pace at Donington went unrewarded, what with the exclusion from one race with overboosting and alternator failure in the other. We expected him to be the man to beat yesterday in the race to pole. That didn't happen. It never quite clicked earlier on in the day, although that first race was on the medium tyre. So finally Tom must think, oh, at last I've done it.
Yeah, and he's going to have strong weekends like Ash Sutton has had in the first 2. They will definitely come. Snetterton next time out is a circuit he goes very well at, and I'm sure he and Team Virtue will be putting all efforts into getting some maximum point weekends.
Well, Tom Ingram then takes career win 41. He will be delighted with that, but we tongue-in-cheek talk about the book of superlatives for Ash Sutton, but he really has proved this weekend why he is regarded so highly, because that's been an outstanding weekend.
It has, and you've just seen that little bit of difference now that having the car that is ultimately competitive makes, because he was over-delivering last year for the car. The car wasn't really capable of matching Tom Ingram, and Ash Sutton had to be very creative, didn't he, in his strategies and his racecraft to try and keep the points battle alive. This year he has the car underneath him.
Tony Carosa, his engineer, will probably say, don't forget my part in all of this, you know, helping to build a car that enables Ash to go so well. And it is a great double act, as there Tom Ingram will go through the technical checks, the ride height, the weight of the car. As he does so, let's look at the result of round 6 of the Kwik British Touring Car Championship. Tom Ingram is the race winner by nearly 4 seconds from Ash Sutton, and Mikey Doble taking third. Daryl De Leon 4th, 5th to Josh Cook ahead of Adam Morgan. Really good charge up the field that from Adam ahead of Gordon Shedden. James Dorlin 8th from Aaron Taylor-Smith, and the top 10 rounded out by Aidan Moffat. 11th to Dexter Patterson, Tom Chilton 12th, and then Charles Rainford, Sam Osborne and Lewis Selby round out the point scorers, with Dan Camish 16th, Dan Rowbottom 17th from Chris Smiley and Nick Hamilton. But we lost Max Buxton and we lost Ricky Collard as well. So Brands Hatch in its 100th year has witnessed a great day of racing, with Ash Sutton now leading as a championship leader by 47 points from Tom Ingram. Mikey Doble third from Ricky Collard, then Dan Camish and Aidan Moffat. Aaron Taylor-Smith 7th, Charles Rainford, Daryl De Leon and Gordon Shedden round out the top 10 overall. Let's also just try and pick up where we stand in the independents, because Mikey Doble's had a good day to lead that from his teammate Aidan Moffat. It's actually a switch there at the top of the independent standings. Daryl De Leon third, and then Aaron Taylor-Smith 4th, Gordon Shedden and Charles Rainford round out the top 6 in the Independent Drivers' Championship. Next stop, of course, will be Snetterton.